Brian. How you doing?
Hey, Bob. How are you?
Good. I think Jake Ottinger is a top-flight goaltender in the world. Might be U.S.'s goalie at the Olympics. He did have a tough series against Edmonton. What did you think of the poll yesterday by Pete DeBoer that early in the game?
Well, I'm a big fan of Pete DeBoer, but I don't understand this. First off, the two goals I don't think that Jake could have stopped. One was a tap in the goal mouth, and one was a breakaway. So I don't think there's any reason to pull him for those goals. But trying to get things going on his team, he announces a timeout, which I get. But then it's inexplicable what happened next because he wasn't talking about pulling the goalie. Jake was ready to go back in the net. And he gave him the big symbolic hook and told him that Casey DeSmith was coming in. So I thought for sure they would put Jake back in.
So did I.
I don't get it. I don't understand this.
And
They don't. I'm a huge fan too. Pete DeBoer played for me in the IHL in Milwaukee. He's a real bright guy. I love him, and I think he's a good man. I think he lost his temper. I think the assistant coaches should have jumped in here.
Really? Yeah. And the funny thing was, Brian, in the morning, and this is when it's funny because I'm never, you know this, and maybe, Jack Michaels calls me Chicken Little at times, but I always, have tremendous amount of respect for the opponents. I think the Oilers are good too, but, Dallas had a 7-2 record at home. They're a tough out. And, but in the morning, DeBoer made a comment about the coaches can't put the puck in the net for the players. And it's true, but, it's kind of like you got to find some more creative ways to help those guys put the puck in the net. That's part of what a coach does. And it was an interesting they've had 3 straight years where they've gone to the conference final. Jim Nill, top flight GM in the league, went out and got him Rantanen. I don't know, maybe he had a tough day yesterday. It was interesting. I mean,
I think it was a mistake, and I do like this coach immensely. He's a top coach. The issue is, I think the frustration builds up. There's a handful of teams that can't get past the second round. Toronto's one of them.
Yeah.
Carolina's one of them. Dallas is one of them. And I think there's just frustration built up. I think it's something. I think it's a repairable thing. I don't think this is an irreparable damage to the relationship.
Yeah.
Jake's a great kid, and Pete DeBoer's a top guy. They could sort this out over a couple of beer, but I don't think it's irreparable, but it looked bad.
Yeah. Skinner stepped up for the Oilers, didn't he? Second straight year at better than .920 against Dallas in a playoff series.
He's been marvelous, especially where he came back. He had to yank him and come back in relief for Pickard. It's wonderful what he's done. I can't help but think, though, they blocked a lot of shots and they missed a lot of shots, but did anyone knock this guy down? I saw him get Duster's going to get bumped once.
I thought the first couple shifts, I think Dallas was so in shock. They were doing a couple drills where I'm like, are they going to be, getting some traffic in front of Skinner here? And they did. There was one where they knocked him back into behind the goal a bit. He's a big man too, as you know. He's 6'4" and 225 pounds and comes from a family with 8 siblings. Like, he is not a timid guy. He's not Mike Smith. Mike Smith was a tough you-know-what, but you love it already. And I already know where you're going. Edmonton's going to play Florida, and Florida is a tough team. They bully teams. Does Edmonton have enough to handle Florida in that regard?
Yes. Mainly because of the personnel changes that Sam Bowman made. You got 2 big changes. Evander Kane coming back from injury. He's a force physically. He's a mean guy when he plays like that. And I think the second guy they brought in from Boston is the same.
Trent Frederick.
Trent Frederick. I think he's the same type of player. Not nearly as tough, but capable of fighting and capable of hitting.
Yeah.
I think it's changed the complexion of their team.
Yeah. It's funny because all along, I will tell you this, and you know that I'm not a shy fella, and I'm on the road every day with, the team, and I get a chance to talk to Stan a fair amount. Stan told me literally from the first couple of weeks of the regular season, we're going to need to improve our ability to transition the puck. with the type of forwards we have, we got to get the puck up the ice, Staff. Everybody thinks we need a big, hard-nosed, shutdown defenseman. We need another guy that can move it. Well, they went out and got two. They went out and got Wallman and Klingberg. And by the way, Dallas was in on a return for Klingberg as well. And it saved their year because there's no way they beat the LA Kings, Brian Burke, if they don't have Wallman and Klingberg in that series because they didn't have Matthias Ekholm.
I agree, and I think Jake Wallman was a great pickup. I said it at the time. This is not hindsight being 2020.
Yep.
I said he gives them a real dimension they don't have. And he can play up and down the lineup. Jake Wallman can run a power play. He can kill penalties. He's been a valuable addition, especially where the Viking is out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they missed him when he was out of the lineup. And then they didn't trade away. Some people thought, well, maybe they move out Kane's contract. No, he was on LTIR. And then they made the deal for Frederick, even though he was hurt. We never saw what this group could do. And I know you have some theories on analytics, but there's not a lot of analytics on heart and character and experience and the ability to have a deeper reserve. They were on the ropes against the LA Kings. They almost got put down against the LA Kings. But they didn't, did they?
Well, you remember what I said about analytics. I said this at the Sloan conference years ago. Never been asked back, by the way. I said analytics are like a lamppost to a drug, useful for support, but not necessarily for illumination. Analytics has a valuable place and an important role, but he can't tell you whether a guy will block a shot with his face. Can't tell you whether a guy will fight even though he's pretty sure he's going to get his ass kicked, but he'll fight anyway. Pretty hard to measure that with analytics.
Yeah. Well, and I love when you tell that story. Are you telling me that the Sloan Analytics Conference has never invited you back after you said that?
No, it didn't go over too big.
Well, I guess they want an echo chamber, you know? Maybe. I got used for it, I do. But I think you need lots of different sources and sets of information, including you got to see what players do. Like, Brian, sometimes I sit in the corner at games, and people go, why do you go sit at the corner of a junior game? Because I want to see how competitive guys are in the corner. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's a stupid concept or idea, but you gotta quote unquote see the player good from a scouting perspective, and then you're looking for additional support, are you not? And analytics is
exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And analytics, a lot of teams use analytics as an exclusionary tool. So they say, okay, we like Bob Stauffer, we like this, we like that, but his analytics are poor, so we're not going to draft him. So it has a valuable purpose, but not necessarily for primary evaluation.
Yeah.
Which is usually looking and research.
Brian, nobody likes Bob Stauffer. That's not even in my own household. In fact, they all moved out. They all moved out to West Van, and they're never coming back. But you would understand that because you've been out to Vancouver, and you understand how nice West Van is. Anyhow, just all right. So at the end of the day, the Oilers. It's funny because we had Connor and Leon last night post game, and I kind of referenced it with Connor. I go, you got 14 guys that have scored, 14 forwards have scored goals for you. You got 11 players with 3 or more goals in the playoffs, 8 players with 5 or more goals. This isn't just Connor and Leon, is it?
No. And they'll get Connor Brown back, but they won't get Zach back. Zach Hyman's a valuable player on any team, but especially in Edmonton.
Yeah.
With his hitting and scoring and the way he drives offense and makes things work. He's a valuable guy. He'll be missed, but they've got Connor Brown's coming back in, I think.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Corey Perry's picking up a lot of the slack, so they've got enough. I said this earlier today. I will never vote against Connor and Leon. I would pick Florida. In some cases, I really think they got the best team, but I'll never bet against those two guys again.
Yeah. Well, they've won all the individual awards. They want to, it's all about winning. That's what they're about right now. What do you think of Chris Knobloch?
I think he should have been up for Coach of the Year more than once. I think he's doing a great job. I met him a couple of years ago. I was struck by his calm. He just doesn't get rattled. He's very calm, and that demeanor, I think, helps his team, helps the players calm down, helps them be analytic, not panic. I think it bestows a sense of calm on the whole team.
Brian, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. It's a big story because the two kids are from Western Canada. They're represented by Jerry Johansson, Cole Reshney. I believe Calgary has interest in Cole Reshney for this year's draft. He is from Macklin's, Saskatchewan, and played for Victoria and had a dynamic second half of the year with the Victoria Royals. Keaton Verhoff's from Fort Saskatchewan. He's Kirby Doc's cousin. He's a 6'4" right shot T. First defenseman in the dub at 16 to score 20 goals in a season in 40 years. They have left Victoria and they have committed to North Dakota. Now, Reshney is draft eligible this year. Verhoff is draft eligible next year. Could you ever have envisioned something 15, 20 years ago, and you played at Providence back in the day, where NCAA schools, those schools are good at recruiting, Brian. They know how to recruit, where they'd end up getting kids out of major junior that had originally, committed to play WHL hockey, because it is a compelling track to take for good players, given the practice to game ratio, the training they get, all that. Brian, did we lose him? Brian, you still there? Can you want to call him back? See if you can call him back. We've got Brian Burke on the show. Brian talked about Connor Brown, and that'll get us to the Oilers Now injury report, brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers. When accidents happen, go to jameshbrown.com. Trent Brown, Jim Brown, proud supporters of the Edmonton Elks, the Edmonton Oilers, and the U of A Golden Bears. James H. Brown are the heavy hitters in injury law. They've got over 250 plus years of experience. These guys know what they're doing. There's no question. Do we got Berkey back? All right. Brian, how about that? The WHL's Victoria Royals losing their two best players to North Dakota. It is a different world. Lots of options now for kids, isn't it?
Well, first off, let's all settle down here. This will be a little madness for a year or two while they sort this out.
Yeah.
But the issue would be they promise a 4-year full ride. Well, that's not the case. You get a 4-year full ride until you don't play well your first year. Then a lot of schools they yank that money.
Yes.
So this is a 1-year commitment for a lot of teams.
But these guys are first round pick. These guys are the one, Reshney in middle of the first round this year. Verhoff's a consensus top 5 pick next year. They're going to play.
And they still will be. They stay at college, though. They got to stay 4 years to get free. So I think they're taking the best development track available to them. This will get sorted out, guys. The CHL and the NCAA have no interest in having this war going on. It was forced on by a court case. They'll sort this out between the two parties, but it's going to take a couple of years.
Yeah. Well, North Dakota's going to have a lot better team because they, those guys are. There is a chance they both end up on the Canadian World Junior team this year. That's how good those two play.
Keep in mind, NCAA average age is 22 to 24.
Right.
CHL average age is 18 and a half for those draft kids.
Yeah. 100%.
Probably 19 and a half for the league. So they're not, very few of those kids step in and dominate at 18 in the NCAA. They're playing, it's cats and dogs, different animals.
All right. Final one. So just to revisit the Oilers and the Florida Panthers, because the next time we're going to have you on is before game number 2. You are not betting against Connor and Leon, despite the fact that Florida's got a great team.
Yep, 2 great teams. It should be a great series, but I'm sticking with the boys in blue.
Berkey, love having you on the show. Thank you for joining us on Oilers Now. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Bob.